Now, before I waste your time at all with any of this extra fluff that I'm about to tell you, all you really need to do to get your extreme speeds to be consistent is just go into training mode and just practice for a little bit, do all your angles, see what you can get away with, what works, what doesn't, and also just remembering that you don't need to do the extreme like curves and stuff to get the best recovery out of it, because doing that is more risky than it is helpful. So, I have been seeing a lot of Lucario guides in my days because, I played a lot of Lucario. Lucario is like probably one of my favorite characters in the game. And, I like to know as much as I can about my characters. But there's one thing that I feel like that nobody really touches on, and that is how to properly use your up B, which is extreme speed. And granted, it seems pretty straightforward, but you still see a lot of Lucario players and even like really good players just properly pull one of these.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye.
It happens all the time. It happens to the best of us. It's fine. Like I get it. Like it still happens to me every now and then until I decided to make this video. And also, before I made this video, and I did like my own research. But yeah. I just want to show just exactly how it works. It's because I feel like there's no real guides out there that really go in depth on how to control it. And also just tell you that you don't really need to be that crazy with it to get those movement mix-up that you see a lot of, top players do. Well, the only top player, it's got to be. But, yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right into it because I don't want to waste any more time. So, let's go over the data on it first. So extreme speed comes out on frame 46, and it doesn't really have a notable end lag. It does have shield data though. It has a minus 25, minus 31, minus 22, minus 31, minus 19, or minus 29 on shield. Granted, you won't really be hitting people's shields with it. Because if you're trying to hit people's shields with this, then you're probably using the move wrong. But you can use it to attack. It does have an attack at the end. Let's see if I can show it here. See, like right there, it hit it for 8.9%. I'm at 100%. So nothing crazy though. Like it can get some kills if they're at higher percent, but you generally don't want to be using it as a kill option unless you just want to, I don't know, Twitter clip them, but usually you can just get away with, using it to get them off or as a surprise mix-up, because a lot of people don't know about the hitbox. Because the hitbox also works in both ways. It doesn't have to be the complete end of the attack. You can just ram into them, and then the bounce that you saw there, this, okay, that was a bad example, but this bounce right here, it does damage as well. So you can either hit them with a clean hit or just hit them with a bounce. Doesn't really matter. It does the exact same thing. But again, generally, you don't want to use it as a finisher or anything unless you just want to be fancy, because the chances of you actually killing someone with it are very low unless either they have a bad recovery or they're at a high percent where the knockback in general will just kill them outright if you have high aura. But in terms of actually recovering with it, that's a bit of a different story, because when it comes to extreme speed, a lot of people describe it as a steering wheel type thing, but I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you that it's pretty simple, honestly. And again, like I said at the beginning, you don't really need to go for the extreme angles that you see people do, like, like curving up like that, or doing like something like this, or trying to do something like that. You don't really need to do any of that. A lot of the time it's just the straight angles, like straight up or straight down, straight left, straight right will do you just fine. You only want to go for the angles if you're just trying to do for a mix-up, because while extreme speed is super fast on paper, because it's in the name, it is still very much punishable. Like you will not, any good player who knows you're about to extreme speed will either charge a forward smash or place themselves where they're going to end up, because it's a very predictable move. So if you're scared of them, hitting you right at the end of it or something like that, then obviously that's when you want to go for the angles. But even then, you don't really have to go for anything crazy. Something that's just enough to either let you stunt the ledge perfectly or just let you hit them so that they, don't hit you first. But anyway, in terms of actual recovery angles, I usually just like to go for like a straight up to a curve. So at the very end of the extreme speed, I curve it. And also note with the curving with extreme speed, you never ever want to do a straight line. Well, not a straight line. You never want to do the curving before you actually start moving. So what I mean by that is that as soon as you see Lucario moving like left, right, up, down in that straight direction, then you can do the curve. Because if you do the curve too early, then you're gonna end up yeeting yourself into the last one. That's why you see a lot of players do that, because in fantasy situations they'll be thinking about that and they'll end up just killing themselves because they don't know or don't remember the fact that you can't do that. That's part of the reason why it happens so often, because a lot of people think that they can do it early, and that the buffer system will like get some leeway, but it really doesn't. So like you kind of have to treat it as you can only really. The steering is not as crazy as you think it is. It's only really useful at the very end of the move, not on the beginning. Because if you try to do a curve at the beginning, you're usually not going to have an angle that's going to actually get you back to stage. So what the practice is, or the proper way to do it, is just straight line and then curve at the bottom. You see how I kind of curved at the end when I got to the ledge instead of just doing it too early. Because if you do it too early, then you die. So always wait for the Lucario to actually start moving before you do any angles. Obviously, if you're doing it at a specific angle, like like corner of the stage like that, then obviously you want to do the angle earlier, but still you want to hold that angle for the entire duration. So if you're trying to up B and you want to go straight right, you hold the right until Lucario actually starts moving, and then if you want to go a little up, a little down, then you can do that towards when you're actually moving, not before you actually start moving. Because a lot of times what happens is that whenever you're trying to do the curve, you do it too early to the point where Lucario curves like right away. And sometimes you can drift back to stage in time, but a lot of times that's with your SD, Takeaway from this video is if you want to use extreme speed, wait for Lucario to start moving before you curve. Don't, and I repeat, do not curve early. Do not start moving early. Because you think you're gonna be super cool with it, but in reality you're just gonna be doing stuff like this. Because it's very, very bendy. Like it's very, very bendy. So if you want to not have that happen, you want to make sure you wait until you actually start moving in that straight line. Because granted, yeah, you can get some crazy angles by doing like a curve C angle, but like I said, doing the fancy recoveries like that is usually only something you want to do if you want to flex. Because if you try to do that all the time, that can be predictable as well. And even then, that's still really way more risky than just doing it normally and just planning to recover. Because at the end of the day, you want to recover, you want to get back on stage. And even a recovery that you may think, a recovery angle that you might think is super, like predictable, like straight up or straight left, straight right, or straight down, whatever. Well, you may think it's predictable, it's still a lot safer than trying to do a curve at an angle where you're gonna kill yourself, So make sure you're waiting, and also if you want to do a curve, you want to make sure you're doing it as you're moving, not before you start moving. Otherwise, you'll just die. And also, a note about the bouncing thing: you have to hit like straight dead on the stage. You can't. There's some angles where it just doesn't really do the actual bouncing. So either diagonally straight down. So think of it as like skipping a rock, If you throw a rock diagonally across the water, then it'll bounce like that, like you just saw earlier. But if you do it to like a weird of an angle, then he just automatically like slides. Let's see if I can get it. It's kind of a poor example, but you know what I mean. Like he'll do like a more of a slide thing. And at that point, it's still safe for the most part, unless you hit them like straight in front of the shield, in which case then obviously you can get punished. But otherwise, you're not going to really get punished by it a lot, because most people aren't ready for it, unless they're like a really like top player. but obviously you still never want to do it right on top of somebody, otherwise there's a high chance you'll still get punished anyway, because like 32 on shield is still a lot of time for most people to do literally anything they want, so just keep that in mind. Oh yeah, I just wanted to make that quick video. I mean, I guess quick is kind of an overstatement because it's like almost 10 minutes, but I just wanted to make this video because I really feel like that nobody's talking about it, and it kind of made me annoyed, so I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. I am by far the best Lucario player on the planet, but I do know my way around this character quite well. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments, and yeah, I hope to God that I never see anyone else SDing with this character on that move, otherwise I will come to your house.